Welcome to Fika's Focus. Voices leading change.
All right, welcome back to Fill the Gap. We're here with Tarrin. How are you, Tarrin?
Hi, I'm good. Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
We are going to talk in this Fill the Gap. We use this segment to really support the sector, and you offer a really cool insight into being a teacher who's coming from overseas and become a very valuable part of the teaching fraternity in New Zealand and Future Focus. So I thought we'd just talk a little bit about that. What was it like going through the immigration process to get here?
The immigration process is so hard. And when I say hard, I don't just mean just leaving your family. Of course, that is a big step. It's difficult in itself with that. But actually finding the right school for my son, and for us just sort of settling in, coming into a foreign country. We had never been to New Zealand before. And my husband, he had never been, I had come on holiday before, and my husband hadn't been here, and it's just completely different. Everything, when you're looking at the type of money that you've got here in New Zealand compared to South Africa, you're having to just sort of relearn everything all over again, and just sort of things that you take for granted by obviously living here. The safety aspect as well is just, sometimes I leave the center and I still lock the doors. And people are like, why are you locking the doors? I'm like, just old habits, don't die hard. It's it definitely is a huge emotional roller coaster. Definitely for my family, for my husband, for myself, and also, of course, for my son. He's now coming in here. Things are done differently as well compared to South Africa. I will never forget as well. I obviously started at Future Focus, and my husband then had to go and drop my son off at school for school visits, something that we don't do in South Africa, something that we had never heard of before. And my husband sent me photos, and I'm like, why are you still at the school? I'm like, why did you not just drop and go? You're going to just make the whole process so much harder for him. And he was like, no. The teachers just told us that we need to stay. So I'm like, oh, okay. That was, just something that we would never do. In South Africa, it really is just, hi, see ya, and your child is here. So definitely so much caring and love that gets incorporated into the schooling process, which does definitely... It has helped my son to just sort of settle a lot more.
Yeah, that's cool. And in terms of what I love about you, you've really adapted your teaching practice a lot. Can you talk to some of the difference, or the things that stand out to you as being quite new or different in terms of Te Whāriki and the curriculum to what you were used to, and even the delivery, how we teach here versus SA?
Yeah. So SA, like I've just said this before, they are so educational driven. The structure is very much sitting at the table, sort of from the age of 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, sitting, and academics is a huge thing from a very, very young age. So also sort of coming here, that is all I've known in teaching for 20 years. And coming here has just been an absolute fresh a breath of fresh air at the end of the day. And it's just, there is just so many, when I look at the Te Whāriki as well, the different strands, the different principles that are incorporated, and why Te Whāriki do the things that they do, it just makes sense. Like, that's all I can say to parents, is that it just makes sense. The nurturing part, the empowerment part as well is just phenomenal for 2-year-olds. They're not expected to sit at a table for half an hour at sort of doing a lesson there. It's just not viable. It's not realistic. A child is not expected to do that at that age. They're expected to play. They're expected to be engaged on the floor. A teacher is supposed to be sitting on the floor there with them, empowering them. And for me, that is such a big thing that I have learned since I've been here, is that children are capable. Children are capable of doing things by themselves with the guidance, obviously, from us and the sector, the education sector, and parents, relationships as well. I am definitely a communicator, a relationship-based person. I love people. My heart is just to serve people and serve families and serve these children and just serve the education sector as well, and for me, at the end of the day, those relationships are so vital. It is, once you've built those relationships with your whānau, then it's nothing really matters at the end of the day, because then you can work and you can then build as well then with those families, and just being there and helping and guiding people really at the end of the day.
Well, that was beautifully said. That was really beautifully said. I think one other thing, I really admire your desire to use tikanga and te reo Māori. I know, you spoke to me last week. You're like, I'm good with that. But, what I love is that you want to give that a go. And I think that's important for teachers not coming into our space, because there will be more, and you're a great role model for us. But what about some of the support for that and having a go with te reo Māori?
Very interesting. For me, I do love trying things, and I feel like just knowledge is power really at the end of the day, But I don't know, for some reason, I just, when it comes to learning this, I just feel like I've just hit like a blank, like an absolute complete blank. And it's something that is definitely on my heart, and I know our team as well at the batch. Yes. It is definitely like all of those amazing kayakos, Maddie, Lindy, Michelle, all of them, I know that they all just want to get stuck in the te reo as well. So I think it's definitely something that we would love to go on a course and do to empower ourselves as well, because there are many different languages there. It's New Zealand is so diverse, and that's what I love about it. It is not just an English-based place. We've got Indian people, we've got Chinese people, and I feel that also if we can also, communicate with those families, even in our story parks, if we can change that into their language, that also has a sense of belonging and well-being for those parents and that family here. So if I can learn all the languages in the world, I would, but let me just start off with te reo first. But absolutely something that I want to incorporate and want to learn. Yeah,
and your enthusiasm really helps in that space. And the last thing I want to talk to you about actually is around that story park, that relationships, that because you're always sending notes to families and things. Is that something that was in the essay, or has it just been? I know that's you as a person, but was that expectation there in essay, and you used to it here, or what did it look like?
Yeah, so we did again very much sort of while the children are sleeping, the teachers are on their laptops communicating with parents. Cool. So it's not foreign to me in terms of that, but obviously just a different program. Again, also just. I think it's just my personality and just wanting to just send it out to parents. I know as a mum how important those pictures and videos, if you've dropped your child off and they've had a rough morning, you just want to know that your child is okay. So it's always just in the back of my head. It's not a foreign concept, no, it's not. But it's just communication is key really at the end of the day again.
And we appreciate your relationships. Like even Damo, he talks about lakes, just loves you. Yules was saying, I've got a message to Tarrin, it's Lake's birthday and things, and your impact and relationships. And that's the beauty, I think, for my own journey going overseas and things. Actually, there's nothing really majorly different in the fact that kids need love,
Yes.
care, respect,
Yes.
honesty, their integrity, their mana kept in space. And that's the same in the SA, it's the same in Doha, I talk
is.
things, it's exactly the same. And I think it's been, for me, a real privilege to see you come in and just bring that love and care from a completely different culture. So,
I think that's also, chatting to my dad, just something that you've just said now has made me think of my dad back in South Africa as well. I was like, Dad, I'm so nervous to go there. It's a whole new culture. It's a whole new curriculum at the end of the day. And he also just said to me, he was like, Tarrin, children are children at the end of the day, and that's what they need. They need love. It doesn't matter where you go around the world. You can impact children because that's what they need. They need love, they need time, they need nurture, and they need care as well.
Well, you're an expert at it. So, okay, thank you, Tarrin, for that.
Thanks,
That's a
Ray.
pretty cool piece for Fill the Gap.
Thank you.